Hello, folks. Uh, Welcome to fall term. Welcome to Quantitative Methods in Psychological Science, which is a way to use 14 syllables to say statistics. So, um, weird year, yes, and hopefully, I hope wherever this finds you out there, you and yours are doing well. I hope you're getting settled into the term okay. I imagine most of you probably had to ride through the spring term, possibly the summer term, as I did, with all the adjustments and adaptations and accommodations and everything else. And I think we're starting to find our feet, but it's all still a little bumpy. So just note we'll all be hopefully all be kind of taking that into account as we make our way into this term together. And it's kind of a remarkable thing too. It just was occurring to me a little bit earlier that in a year with a global pandemic like nothing we've seen in our lives, unbelievable wildfires throughout the whole West, social unrest and upheaval, and an election year. And I mean, I don't even remember all the things now, but you know what I'm talking about. um, and yet somehow, for I think a number of people, my courses are probably still seem worse than a lot of those things that are happening this year. So there's that. At any rate, with this pandemic, with everything going on, we're all going to have our own situations. I know that. I mean, right now, for instance, I have 4.5-year-old twins at home quarantined with me. This is why I'm hiding in the bedroom trying to do these things currently. Last thing I heard was some kind of screaming about it's not baboon poop. So I'm going to go ahead and let that resolve itself. At any rate, just know that I know I'm not the only one stuck home with kids. I'm not the only one with employment concerns, situations, I mean, all manner of. Again, the list goes on and on. Um, so just know that I'm aware of that. Please communicate. Just let me know. I don't want anybody out there freaking out any more than you're already going to be, probably, because, well, statistics, right? Okay. Um, I know you're hopefully got, I think most of you, it looks like you've gotten into the shell. You're getting familiar with the layout of the course, the syllabus, all these kinds of things. So I really just wanted to send this as kind of just a quick hello, as well as just to touch on a few things. And I'll also sort of put a face, I guess, to the course, which fortunately has to be my face. But anyway, hopefully you're finding the information to be reasonably straightforward. It's very similar probably to a lot of other courses that you have, but I also recognize that there are quite a few moving parts in this course. I've taught a lot of statistics in my life, but I've done it very little online. I've usually at least just done it as a hybrid. So this is a little bit different, and we're all going to be kind of working with. You're probably seeing we're going to be working with a couple of different software programs. We're going to be using something called Perusal to be working with documents, annotation, papers, those kinds of things. We're going to be working with MindTap, which is the platform that comes alongside the textbook that we're using for the course. At some point, we're going to be incorporating the use of probably JASP or some other software program for statistical analysis. But we're going to do these things. Ideally, I mean, we're going to do them in a stepwise way. We're going to take it reasonably slow. We're going to get comfortable with the things that we're working with, and communication will be key. Since we are all kind of doing this in our own locations, on our own schedules, that kind of thing. Just know that the whole point of my being here is to help you succeed, to work with you in whatever capacity I can, to make that happen. So that's all to say. Please don't be a stranger, especially in an online course like this. Everybody's a little bit different. I'm certain that there will be some of you I'm going to work with very, very closely throughout the next 10 or so weeks. And others of you are probably a lot more like I was as an undergraduate, which is you're going to live your life, you're going to do your thing, you're going to do the work, and we're probably going to have very little in the way of interaction, all of which is completely acceptable, as long as you're comfortable with what you're doing out there. So, I don't have any, I guess, specifics that I wanted to get into in terms of the details of any of those programs. I'm hopeful that as you're going through the introductory sections and those modules, that I know that they're very dry, they're very detailed, but that, of course, is to hopefully be communicative and to pass along the information and the like. I know it's written in there somewhere amidst everything else. You're going to run into questions, as you do, by all means. I encourage you to ideally take those to sort of the Q&A section of the discussion board, where there can kind of be a back and forth and response and that sort of thing. That's not because I'm reluctant to take your direct emails. It's just that I can guarantee you in the next days, weeks, that sort of thing, I'm going to be getting so many emails per day. It's gonna be really hard for me to get back to you with like helpful substantive answers. It's not that I won't, it's just that it might take me a while and that sort of thing. So for what it's worth, that leads me to one other thing I guess I wanted to speak to. When I'm here, I am saying I'm going to have too many emails to read. You have too many emails to read as well. I mean, I know how many we just get as a baseline from Oregon State that don't even directly have to do with our classes or our immediate experience. But the one thing I want to emphasize here, and it's just based on experience, is that, right now I'm recording this as a video rather than typing the whole thing out. Part of that is that as we go through the term, particularly in this weird, tumultuous time, we are probably going to have to make adaptations. We might have to make some slight changes or to work this or change, things this way. I mean, that's adaptation has been the term like this year for me. And so as we're doing that, you are going to be receiving emails from me. I mean, there'll be some things in Canvas. Sometimes I make announcements on there, but that's a thing I very rarely do, because I found that, just sending a direct email from me to you all tends to be the best way for direct communication. But that being said, I'm a very verbose person, and that includes when I'm writing emails. And so when you got written emails from me, they usually end up being like small novels, extremely dry, with information in that, and I can't blame a person for like falling asleep halfway through them. But they are incredibly important, because that's where the core bit of information pertaining directly to the fundamentals of our course, how things are going, what's changing, what's not, all of that is going to come via those emails. And I've taken to kind of doing these videos because rather than having to read through this long, terrible thing, hopefully you can just click it on and whatever. You can go do the dishes, or you can play with the dog, you can do whatever and just kind of listen to me, blah, 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 blah. But still get the information in a hopefully just as or more so sort of accessible way. But the reason that I harp on the email thing is, like I say, everybody's going to be a bit different in the way that they interface with this course. And I came to learn that, I would make a big, huge change like, hey, great news, we're not going to take the final and we're just going to play with golden retriever puppies. And that's really important. And I'd send it out in an email, and a small portion of people would be like, this is great, where do we find the puppies? And then within days, a couple weeks, something like that, then I would start getting mass numbers of messages saying, I'm here for the final, where's the final, what should I plan on for the final? Which is very frustrating. So that's just to say, read my damn emails, or watch them, or listen to them, or you get the idea, right? That's where all of the important information is going to sort of come along that isn't what is already directly in this sort of structured form of the class. So for what it's worth, please do that. And that's probably enough for week one. I guess that part is worth talking about. It really isn't week one. This is one of the strange things about the way that this fall schedule happens. So we're technically in week 0, as it's affectionately known, which actually is kind of a nice thing, although it makes it awkward for our sort of 10-week usual schedule. It, at least I feel like it allows us kind of time to ease into it, kind of not have to jump in and start pulling muscles and getting hurt, stuff like that. So for this week, the couple of days that we have this week going into the weekend, there's not much in the way of like content or much that you really have to do outside of the basic like introductory pieces of the course, getting familiar enough with what the expectations are going to be, what things are going to look like, getting signed up for MindTap and things like that. All those sort of practical issues that we can kind of do now before we have to jump into. Also, you need to read chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and start doing all the work. Because that's what we're going to do, provided we can sort of get enough done this week. Going into next week, we're going to basically hit the ground running, and we won't slow down for a while. So, yay! So, hopefully this is helpful. It's awkward. I'm sitting in my bedroom talking at my computer, which I don't think is ever going to feel normal, but I'm looking forward to working with you all, whatever that means in this digital scape. Like I say, I'm so used to teaching face to face. I'm awkward as hell when it comes to trying to figure out this online stuff. That being said, I've been doing it for a little while now, and I've actually been able to forge some really great relationships with students, work really well with them. It's more rewarding than maybe I would have thought initially. And so I am excited to work with you all this term, whatever that's going to look like, and just be in touch and take care of yourselves, and cheers.